Mr. David Heibloom, UMA President, Mr. Steve Kemmler, CEO, UMA faculty and staff, proud friends and family, and most importantly, UMA graduates. All right. Thank you for letting me share this morning with you. Mr. Heibloom promised me that if I kept my comments to under 20 minutes, he would buy me a keg of beer. So I'm going to be quick. Let me jump right in. In 1980, I was an 11-year-old Latino male living in a single-parent home, low income. I had undiagnosed depression, and I was using street drugs to self-medicate. My oldest brother was on the verge of dropping out of high school, and I spent most of sixth grade either walking to the principal's office or walking from the principal's office. Three things happened that year in sixth grade that made my life particularly difficult. The first is that two of my friends went to go make a drug run. There was a shootout, and my friends were murdered. The second thing that happened that was related to that is that a group of young men broke into my home. They restrained me and they sexually assaulted my cousin. Well, the third thing that happened is that I was arrested for possession. And I remember the look on my mom's face when she came into juvenile to pick me up, the anger in her face. And the first words out of her mouth were, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" And that question wasn't a question of action. What am I doing here? Well, I'm sitting in this chair with these handcuffs digging into my wrist, wondering what the next 48 hours of my life will look like. That's not the question she was asking. It was a question of identity. And I remember thinking, what an absolutely stupid question to ask me. Are you kidding me? What am I doing here? I know who I am. I'm Adam Lewis Saenz. I'm never going to learn. It's my job to make your life hell. What am I doing here? This is who I am, and this is what I do. Where else would I be? Well, Child Protective Services was never involved with my family, but my mom could read the writing on the wall. She knew that I had an older brother that was about to drop out of high school and things didn't look good for me, so she voluntarily relinquished parental rights. And I moved to live with a family several hundred miles away from where I grew up in the lower Rio Grande Valley of South Texas. Well, that family loved me well, and I actually did pretty well in junior high and high school, thanks to them. But after high school, I was on my own. I was working as a dishwasher at a fast food restaurant. I was sleeping on the floor of my friend's garage apartment, and everything I owned, and it wasn't much, fit into the bottom half of his hallway closet. And my prized possession was my box of journals. And that's when the bottom fell out. My depression was out of control. I started using drugs again to self-medicate. And I wasn't suicidal, but I remember thinking, are you kidding me? I'm 19 years old, and I've got another 60 years of this to look forward to. What's the point? Well, I remember coming home from work one morning about 3 a.m. I was tired, I was depressed, and all I wanted to do was pull out my journal to get down a few thoughts and write. And when I looked into my box of journals, I was blown away at what I found. I found two letters. These were letters that had been written to me by two of my teachers my senior year in high school, and I completely forgot about them. But when I pulled these letters out and I read them, I was blown away at what I read. Part of one of those letters said, "Don't quit writing, especially in your journal. Someday it may be the basis for your book. You have insight, sensitivity, maturity, and intelligence beyond your tender years. Keep being you, you're a special person." And it was signed by my creative writing teacher, Polly McRoberts. Then I pulled out the other letter, and this is part of what it said. "You are extremely talented and intelligent, but most importantly, you have a good heart. I know you will use your talents to help your fellow man, and that's the most satisfying life a person can have." And it was signed by my English teacher, Joella Exley. And that, my friends, that's when the battle began. Because I said, wait a minute. I know who I am. I'm Adam Lewis Saenz. I'm a 19-year-old version of that sixth grade kid that's never going to make it through a single day, whose job it is to make your life hell. I'm working as a dishwasher. I'm using drugs. I know who I am, and I know what my future holds. But here were these two women for whom I had tremendous respect because of their character. And they were disagreeing with me. And I was stuck. I was wondering, who's right about me? I think I know who I am, but here are these two women that are saying something different. So I said, you know what? I need a litmus test. I need to figure out who I really am. And so the test I came up with is I said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to get into college. I have no idea how I'm going to pay for it. I have no idea how you get into college. Nobody in my family had ever been. But I'm just going to try. I have no idea how I'm going to work it with my work schedule. So I applied to the University of Texas at San Antonio, and I couldn't believe it. They actually accepted me. I took my first class. It was a remedial class, Introduction to English, and at the end of the semester, I couldn't believe it. I passed it. Well, then what happened? I started thinking. I said, you know what? Maybe they're right about me. Maybe Mrs. McRoberts and Mrs. Exley could see something in me that I couldn't see in myself. On the one hand, on the other hand, maybe, for all I know, this was a clerical error, and I made a mistake, and this was somebody else's grade. I probably better take another class. So I took another class that spring semester, and then I took another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And then just before I turned 27 years old, I graduated with my undergraduate degree in English. Never, never, never thought I was going to get a college degree. And by then, I realized it. As I was sitting in the chairs that you're sitting in for my graduation at 27 years old, I finally realized they were right about me. They could see something in me that I couldn't see in myself. I am not who I thought I was. I am who they always knew that I was. Well, my bachelor's degree led to a master's degree. My master's degree led to a doctorate. And that first doctorate was so much fun, I decided I should go ahead and get another one, so I got a second one. Thank you. Thank you. So that's my story. Now, what's my point? The point I want to leave with you today is this. It's about valuation. Valuation is the process of estimating what something is worth. And the bottom line is that value determines function. Value determines function. If I have a $5 chair, I'm going to treat it like a $5 chair. And if I trash it out and destroy it, no problem, because I can just run out to Walmart and get me another one. But if I know my chair is a $50,000 antique, that it's precious, that it's one of a kind, I'm going to do everything I can do to protect that chair, to insure it and make sure it sees the next generation. The same is true of people. When we know our value, we live as though our choices matter. Mrs. McRoberts and Mrs. Exley and many other educators just like them, they were my expert appraisers. They were the first individuals that ever spoke truth into my life about who I really was, who I really am. And because they spoke truth into my life about who I am, I was able to find a vision for myself. I was able to live into something more valuable, something more life-giving, something more whole, something better and bigger and richer and deeper than anyone in my family had ever known. And now I live as though my choices matter because I know who I am. I know my value. I've been married to my wife, Kim, for 19 years now. We have 4 amazing children, 3 biological, 1 adopted. I'm a licensed psychologist. I'm an ordained minister. I have 2 doctorate degrees with training at Harvard, Brown, and Oxford. But much more importantly than all of that, and perhaps the sum of all that, I speak to you today as someone who has struggled and someone who has overcome. And let me end with this. As one who has overcome, I am now an expert appraiser. And please allow me to conclude by offering my valuation of you. You, who like me, grew up in lack. You who like me, grew up believing yourself to be inadequate. Not good enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not wealthy enough, fill in the blank. Hear me now. You, like me, have a destiny. You, like me, have a calling. You have a mind. You have a heart. You occupy a space on this planet because you have a future to walk into. You have been gifted with the power to write a future that is worth living. And today, you have completed an important step. Continue to seek your calling and continue to give yourself to it completely. Do that, and you will live well. Thank you again for allowing me to share this with all of you. May God richly bless you as you move into this next chapter of your life. Thank you. Did I keep that under 20 minutes? Do I get my... Okay, good.